Hey, just checking in. Hope you're doing well and hope you're feeling good. I wanted to talk about a little bit about my life, I think 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was living on my own. I was doing a lot of things that students do, a lot of partying, drinking, trying to study, and having fun. I was exercising. But on top of that, I was really into personal development. And I had a lot of to-dos in that personal development. I needed to read books, I needed to do exercise, I needed to go out and meet people, I needed to be productive, I needed to be good at studying, I wanted to be a DJ. There was a lot of things that I was really into and that I made into a must-do. Basically, I planned my life full of these things that I needed to do. And this was in my 20s, I did that a lot. And this must do this and must do that, and that planning, that personal development and all those reading of books, etc., at some point brought me a must do of I must do meditation. So all these to-dos, and I read this thing about meditation being good for you. So that's something that I also needed to do for myself. And that was kind of like a silent killer, you could say. Because what happened when I started meditation, I think at 20 years old or something like that, maybe 21, what happened was slowly but surely I started to become more aware. And that doesn't happen in one session, of course. That's like building. So I started to become aware of my thoughts, becoming more aware of my feelings, becoming more aware of what I was doing in general. Reflection started to happen. And because I was being more aware, I started to become more aware in my daily life. Because I was realizing that I was doing all these things that were not really so beneficial for me. I started to become aware of how much I was drinking, for example. I started to become aware of how I was spending my time. I started to become aware of some of my thoughts, negative thoughts. I started to become aware of some of my desires and wants. And I started to become aware of basically how I was treating myself and my body, how I was treating my girlfriend. At some point, I got a girlfriend. I became more aware and more aware. And this led to, you could say, better actions and better mistakes. And it was like this upward spiral. Meditation first brought me small insights and a little bit of awareness, and then it started to bring me more awareness and more insight and better actions and more aligned actions to who I am. Started bringing me less resistance, and it was like this escalating thing that at some point I had these sort of insight moments, these sort of deep, you could say, almost mystical experience. And I had my first one after 5 years of consistent meditation, not every day, but let's say 3 to 5 times a week, somewhere between 10 and 40 minutes of meditation time. And yeah, I started to really like it because it was like a refreshing moment, like something that really gave me a lot of clarity, something that really brought awareness of how I was feeling at that point, and sometimes even why I was feeling. Let's say I was feeling bad, that I realized I feel bad because I ate this, or I feel bad because I've done that, or I feel bad because I'm entertaining these thoughts. I'm contemplating my own weakness or mistake or things like that, bringing me suffering. Meditation, I knew nothing about spirituality or anything like that, or Buddhism, or I had, you could say, a spiritual inclination because I was always interested as a kid in churches and religion, things like that. But let's say I wasn't reading all these spiritual books or something, but I started to meditate, and then that brought me more and more clarity. And at some point it brought me such deep insights and like some spiritual experiences and it really changed me, that I got really curious about this thing called spirituality and about meditation that I was already doing. I started to read about Zen and Zen practices and how, for example, certain Zen masters teach, and I started to read like the old masters from the 1300s and things like that, because I understood like this is something. And I started reading more and more books. I started with The Power of Now, I think when I was like 20, something like that, but I didn't understand anything about it. I read the book, but I didn't get it. And it's totally fine, of course. But meditation sneaks up on you. It's like something that builds and builds and builds over time. Bringing better decisions, creating more mental health, creating more mental clarity, creating more awareness about constructive and destructive things that you're doing, bringing you the option to act in a better way. That's a little bit about my meditation journey. I think when I started to become all in, like let's say 5-6 years into my meditation practice, I started to up my meditation basically, and I started to do, I think, somewhere between an hour and 3 hours, sometimes like 30 minutes, but mostly like an hour plus every day. And that brought me so much. It brought me tons and tons and tons of insights. It showed me all these layers that I wasn't aware of, from like tensions, layers and layers upon tensions and insights and beliefs, things to basically let go of. And then the whole, you could say, structure of reality started to become more clear, and you go into these, you could say, deeper stages of realization, of awakening. It's been a lovely journey, and I'm still meditating. I'm not still meditating like a couple of hours a day. I'm meditating basically, I think for the last 2 or 3 months, my average might be 20 minutes a day or something like that. It's just reflection moment again. That's really lovely. Seeing if there's something that comes up,